Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Shania. For today's video, I'm going to be discussing all of my most anticipated releases of the year. I am excited for every single one of these books, you guys. Some of them I'm more excited than others, but all in all, excitement is the word that I'm going to be using for every single one of these books. So just be prepared for that word to be tossed around constantly. So I originally thought that I was going to organize this video based on a scale of the books that I'm most excited for their release versus the books that I'm least excited about their release, but I feel like it makes more sense and it's easier if I do it in chronological order based on their release date. So that's what we're going to do today, and I'm really excited to get into this video. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Alright, so the very first book that I have been anticipating for this year is one that I've been waiting for a while, ever since I saw Gabby from Gabby Reads discuss it, and I instantly was like, oh my gosh, this is the book for me, and that is The Sunken Motel by Simone St. James. Now, this book doesn't actually come out until February 18th of this year, and I only got an early release because I am a member of Book of the Month, and I chose it as my Book of the Month, so I got an early release of it, and I am really excited to read it. I cannot wait. Like I said, this is one that has been on my radar for a little while because it is a mystery slash thriller that takes place in a roadside rundown motel, and it contains several secrets that I cannot wait to discover on my own. And I think from reading the synopsis, I think it deals with dual timelines, like there's two different timelines going on between an aunt and her niece. And I think there's like maybe 25 or 35 years or something like that in between their timelines, and they're both take place in the Sunken Motel. So other than that, there's not really much more in regards to what happens in this book, just that there are a lot of secrets within this motel that need to be discovered. And honestly, what really intrigued me about this book is the fact that it reminds me of a movie featuring Chris Hemsworth. And that movie is The Bad Times at El Royale, I believe, and that movie takes place in a motel with a bunch of different characters, and there's overlapping timelines in that, and also some sketchy things happen in the motel, and most importantly, there's a cult happening within it, and I love that, and the fact that Chris Hemsworth is a cult leader in it just screams everything that I want in a movie. And I think that, not that this book will be like similar to that in any way, but it has some themes that are kind of similar to it, and I'm really excited to see what goes on in this book, and I'm really happy that I got an early release. I feel so lucky, and if you guys haven't joined Book of the Month, you guys definitely should, because then you get stuff like this early, and it just makes all your dreams come true. Alright, so the next book that I am anticipating is another one that comes out in February, and it is The Darkness Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. So this book is specifically released on February 25th of this year, and in my mind, from what I got from the synopsis, it is a YA fantasy with a subgenre of paranormal thrown in there, and I was initially captured by this book because in the synopsis it has a really odd way that it's set up, but it reminded me, and excuse me for my language, but it reminded me of the game Fuck Kill Marry, if you guys ever played it. And that's because it legit, if you read the synopsis, it starts off by saying, I'm going to woo the Shadow King, I'm going to marry the Shadow King, and I'm going to kill something else. So really it just goes through the game, is what I felt like. And so I was kind of intrigued by that, just because I like playing that game all the time with my friends. But anyways, this book deals with a girl who wants to become the Shadow King's queen, and she's going to do anything she can to become his queen, even though she doesn't really like him. And I felt like from the synopsis that she just had her reasons for why she didn't like him, but we don't really know why she dislikes him or why she wants to become the Shadow Queen. So I'm really excited to see what her reasons are for that, and I kind of like that there's not very much information, and just for the fact that she's got this 3-layered plan and she's gonna do it and she's gonna be successful, and I feel like she'll be a badass heroine, and I cannot wait to see if my thoughts become true, because I really hope they do. Okay, you guys, so this next book, out of all of these books that I have discussed and will discuss, this is my most anticipated read of 2020, and I cannot wait for this book, you guys. It's going to just be so good. I've talked about it on Twitter constantly because I am just so obsessed, and it's not even out yet, and I cannot wait. But that book is the first one in the Crescent City, called House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Oh my god, I cannot wait. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, you guys know that I am a stan of Sarah J. Maas. Like, I love her so much. I love her writing, and I realize everyone's gonna say that she has problems. She doesn't really talk about much in regards to diversity, and I get that, and I'm sorry, but she's still like one of my all-time favorite authors. I love her writing style, and I can see where people don't like her, but you know what? I love her, and that's my opinion, and I'm gonna stick to it, and I cannot wait for this book, you guys. So this book will be released on March 3rd of this year, and it is, shit you not, you guys, Goodreads says that this book is going to be 816 pages. Holy cow, how the hell did we get honored with an 800-page book from Sarah J. Maas straight off the bat? Oh my god, I cannot wait. I know a lot of people are actually pissed that this book is coming out this year instead of a Court of Thorns and Roses book, because Sarah J. Maas did say that there was going to be more books in that series and she still hasn't released them. But you guys, I honestly, like, it's okay for me that that's not coming out yet, and that's kind of a strong statement for me personally to say, because you guys know, if you guys have been watching my channel, that A Court of Thorns and Roses is by far my favorite series that I've read, and for the fact that I'm okay with not having that book be released yet says something. I'm kind of excited about this series, because this series, the Crescent City series, is the first adult series that Sarah J. Maas has written. So the other ones that she's wrote, Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, those are young adult and new adult books, but this is her very first adult book, and I feel like it's going to just blow my mind. If you guys haven't heard of this series yet, it is about a girl named Bryce who is half fae, half human, and she witnesses a demon murder all of her closest friends, and she is out for revenge against him. Along with her quest for revenge, she meets Hunt, who is a fallen angel, and he is tied to the archangels and has to do everything they say, but he joins her on her quest to the Crescent City to revenge her friend's death and defeat this demon. Now, initially when I read the synopsis for this book, I kind of had Hush Hush vibes from it, for the fact that Hunt, the love interest, is what I'm thinking Hunt is, that he is a fallen angel and is tied to the archangels. So if you guys have read Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, then you guys might see that correlation there. But I know a lot of other people have also said that it sounds very similar to the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning, and I can see it kind of, but honestly that series is just such trash that I don't even care. So if she maybe took some elements from that, I don't really care. I just don't care. I cannot wait for this, because I know that Sarah J. Maas is going to make it just 10 times better than anything else in my mind, and I just so excited, you guys. It's gonna be so good. And I've never wanted, and I talked about this on Twitter not that long ago, but I have never wanted an arc of a book more than I've wanted an arc of this book. Like, I want this in my hands right away, and people are already getting arcs from it, and they're reading it, and they're giving it 5 stars, so I have high hopes that it's going to be as good as I think it's going to be. But I'm also very, very, very jealous for the fact that they have an arc, and I want one so bad. But I can wait till March 3rd. It's not that far away. Alright, so the next book on this list is one that I feel like everybody has as their most anticipated release of the year, and that is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, then you guys might know that I have jumped off the Cassandra Clare bandwagon ever since 2014, when I tried to read The City of Heavenly Fire and I decided to DNF it for certain reasons, and I just haven't ever picked up one of her books since then, and I have yet to read the Dark Artifices series, and I do want to read that eventually, and I do want to read that before reading this book, Chain of Gold, but I just haven't yet, and I feel like since this book is coming out, it will be a persuasion of sort to finish City of Heavenly Fire and also read the Dark Artifices series. If you guys haven't heard of Chain of Gold yet, this one deals with the Infernal Devices characters' children. So the children from the characters of Infernal Devices are going to be in this book. So it deals with the events after Clockwork Princess and whatnot. So I'm really excited for this one because the Infernal Devices was my favorite series that Cassandra Clare has written, more so than City of Bones. I absolutely loved the Clockwork Angel series. Like, it's so good, and I've never bawled harder in a book than I did with Clockwork Princess. So I'm really excited for this one and to see where the kids have ended up, and I think that the kids in this book are mentioned in other books from Cassandra Clare, so again, I need to read those other ones, I feel like, before reading this. But I have heard that Cassandra Clare wrote Chain of Gold in a way that you do not have to read any of her other series to read this one. So if this is the first Cassandra Clare that you guys are picking up, that's okay. You will not be confused about it, but I feel like if you want to be a stan of Cassandra Clare, then reading her other books is going to help you with this one. I totally forgot to mention, but this book is going to be released on March 3rd of this year, so when I pick up Crescent City, I'm going to be picking up this book too, but you guys know I'm going to read Crescent City first. So, okay, so the next book on my most anticipated list of this year is Bone Crier's Moon by Kathryn Purdie. So this book I am excited about for the plot in a way. I think it's going to be an interesting story. However, my main reason for wanting to buy this book and the fact that I'm anticipating it is because of the cover. So the cover is designed by a well-known artist for the YA community, and that is Charlie Bowater. She makes some of the prettiest and most beautiful recreations of characters from young adult books, and I really, really enjoy her work. So when I saw this book and the fact that her artwork was on the cover of this book, I immediately had to buy it just because I wanted to have a piece of her collection or artwork in my hands, and I cannot wait for this one. But in addition, it also sounds very interesting, and I cannot wait for it for the fact that it sounds like a good book as well. So Bone Crier's Moon is going to be released on March 10th, and this is a high fantasy young adult book, I feel like, and it takes place with 3 main characters. So the very first character is Elise. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm not entirely sure. But she is a young woman who is going to be joining the Bone Criers, which in my mind is a cult of women who have these strengths to bring the dead forth from animal bones. It sounds very witch-like. But then on the flip side, we have Bastion, who is not a fan of the Bone Criers, and he wants revenge for some sort of reason. I have no idea why. And then we have our third character, who is Sabine, and she is the best friend of Elise, and when Elise gets taken at some point, then Sabine has to go and rescue her. That's what I'm getting out of that. It sounds like it's a very high fantasy, like there's going to be a lot of world building, at least I hope there's going to be a lot of world building, and it sounds very interesting, and it gives me those Salem Witch Trial vibes. So I am excited about it. I think it's going to be really good, and I really cannot wait for its release, but mostly because it's going to be Charlie Bowater's artwork, and I cannot wait. Alright, so the next book on this list is my second most anticipated book, and I am really excited about it, but I'm also very nervous about this book and the fact that it's coming out this year because I wasn't entirely sure I liked the direction that this series was going, but that is Imagine Me by Tahereh Mafi. So this book comes out March 31st, and it is the finale to the Shatter Me series, and I don't know where this series is gonna go, but I'm excited for it, and I'm kind of dreading the fact that this series is going to be over, but I also kind of buried the fact that this series was done back when it was like 2014 because I thought the series was supposed to be done after Ignite Me, the third book in the series, but then all of a sudden Tahereh was like, no, we're gonna come out with some more books, and I'm not quite done with this series yet. If you guys haven't heard of the Shatter Me series, you guys definitely need to go pick it up because it's a dystopian book that deals with a girl who is imprisoned, well, not really imprisoned, but like she is in an insane asylum, and she's dealing with a lot of problems where she has a lethal touch, and so anybody that touches her skin dies a horrible death instantly. I have a feeling that there's going to be a spin-off series with certain characters in this book, but I'm not entirely sure yet because she comes out with novellas all the time, and that kind of gives you an insight of what's going on with the other characters, but at the same time, I just feel like there's going to be a spin-off series. I do quickly want to mention that this cover is by far the most beautiful cover I think I've ever seen. It's gorgeous. I've loved every single cover that this series has came out with. It was so so beautiful, and I cannot wait for this book, and I think it's going to be really, really good. I'm just really scared that it's going to be a letdown, but I'm praying that it will not be. Alright, so the next book on this list is one, again, that everybody is talking about. It has to be on everybody's most anticipated release list because it's a long time coming and everybody's so excited and there's so much buzz around it. But that is the next book in the Hunger Games series, which is actually the prequel from the original Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. So this book is called The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and it will be released on May 19th of this year. This book is going to be set during the 10th Hunger Games. So if you guys read the original Hunger Games trilogy, that one took place during the 74th annual Hunger Games. So this is like way back towards the very beginning of when they created the games, and we just found out not that long ago from Suzanne Collins when she released an excerpt that this book is going to be dealing with President Snow. So a lot of people are really pissed about this for the fact that it's dealing with President Snow instead of other characters that they feel are more worthy of this book that could have been a way better choice than Snow, and I do agree with that. I do feel like Hamish could have been really great, Mags could have been a really great character to deal with, but at the same time I kind of have a hate-love relationship with the fact that she chose Snow. The reasons that I hate it is, one, I don't care about Snow. He was, like, again, the least on my radar. I didn't care to learn more about him. He was the villain. He was the antagonist. Nobody cared about him. But at the same time, I do appreciate the fact that she chose President Snow because we do get an insight to what made him an asshole, basically, and how he got to the spot that he was in. From what I got from the excerpt, it sounds like we're going to see how President Snow falls in love with a girl from District 12. At least that's what I got from it. I don't really know if I'm just like reading between the lines, but there's something to do with this girl from District 12, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out because that's kind of wild when you think about it because Katniss was from District 12, so to see that overlay in regards to events that happened way before her time and dealing with the relationship with this girl versus his relationship with Katniss, I think it's going to be a really interesting dynamic between the two, and I really want to see how that plays out. Alright, so the next book on my list is the last one that I'm most anticipating for this year, and that is The Damned by Renée Ahdieh. I mentioned back in November in one of my videos that I read The Beautiful by Renée Ahdieh, which is the very first book in this series, and I absolutely loved it. I ended up giving it 5 stars because I really enjoyed the setting of this book. It deals with a 19th century New Orleans and deals with a girl who flees from her past in France and is trying to start a new life in New Orleans, but she ends up running into some serious problems when she joins a convent and a serial killer is going around murdering these people in her convent, and she finds out that there is an other side of the New Orleans underground type of scene in regards to the fact that there are vampires in this book. I've mentioned it time and time again, but what I really loved about this book was the setting, the fact that it's New Orleans, 19th century, we've got some French language in there, we've got Shakespeare in there, and we've got vampires, and I'm so happy that vampires are making a comeback because it is so good, and if you guys haven't picked up this book yet, you guys definitely should. And I have been anticipating the second book, The Damned, ever since I finished The Beautiful. I read the last sentence and I immediately wanted the second one because I loved it so much. Alright you guys, so those are all my most anticipated releases of the year. If any of these books that I mentioned in this list are on your guys' list as well, please let me know down in the comments down below. I would love to just chit chat with you guys about them. Or if there are any other books that are on your anticipated releases list that I didn't have in mind, put them down below because I really want to see what other books are coming out and see what other people are really excited for. So please let me know down below. But that is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on my social media. I'll have it linked all down below. But other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye!